We're in Lovell Canyon today in southern Nevada, not too far outside of Las Vegas. And you're looking at Lovell Canyon Road. Here's the beast right below us. And here we're looking at road 537F, which is Rainbow Springs Road. And our goal today is to reach Little Zion, which is up in the Rainbow Mountains, up in that direction. And it's just a beautiful spot. I have not been there, but I've heard so much about it. And it's many people's favorite spot. Anyway, here we're looking at Potosi Mountain, just to give you an idea of the surroundings. We're looking at the mouth of Lovell Canyon. There's the west side of the canyon. And then if you look up in this direction, you can see the Mount Charleston Wilderness. And there's Griffith Peak and Charleston Peak. Griffith Peak on the right. Let's get a closer look. There we go, Griffith Peak. On the left is either Charleston Peak or it's getting very close. Okay, let's talk about the road system here. The road system is kind of like phone numbers. There's the first numbers are like an area code, and it appears in front of every phone number in the basic area. And this is the same with the road system. So here you have the number 45537F. Now 455 is a prefix to every road in this area. And what you want to look at, what you see on the map, is actually the last three numbers, 37F. So that's what you're looking for. This is the road, 45537F, and you'll see 37F on the map. That's going to take you to the Little Zion Trailhead. So let's go ahead and take 37F, Rainbow Spring Road. You won't see any sign that says Rainbow Spring Road. So just as a little warning, look for 37F. Here we go. And a couple quick things to note on this road. A lot of these roads, if not all of them, have cool little campsites. I don't think you need to have a reservation here, but there are no amenities to the site other than a place to park your car, set up a tent or RV. Anyway, so we're heading up this road, and it is actually a perfectly good road for two-wheel drive. I don't like to take the beast off of asphalt. There are a few spots here that could be high-centered so far. What we'll do is, if I see something that looks like a two-wheel drive would have a hard time, I'll go ahead and let you know. But so far it looks pretty good. But on the other hand, these roads can change year by year. You see a little rough spot that we're on right now, but you can easily get beyond these little spots. These roads can change year by year based on floods, and so you can never actually count on a road being the same from one year to another little campsite. This is really a great place to camp, spend a few nights. And anyway, so I'm adding about 6 miles, 3 miles each way to the Little Zion Trailhead in order to avoid driving the beast on this road. Anyway, let's continue on and let's get a big picture view of what we're looking at here. What you see on the horizon is the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. That's the ridgeline that goes above the Rainbow Mountains all the way from Highway 160 to Willow Spring in Red Rock Canyon. And it skirts the whole Rainbow Mountain range and all the familiar peaks like Mount Wilson, Rainbow Mountain, Bridge Mountain. And in this case, we're going to head up to the Hidden Peak area where we're going to find Little Zion. So we're going to find a way up to that Upper Crest Ridge line and then right over the ridge line down to Little Zion. Here we go. And a quick note on navigation. Even though there are nice roads here, there's no guarantee that when I come down off the Upper Crest Ridge line that I will actually end up on a road. If I do not end up on a road, what I'm looking for, you see this formation, it's kind of a bluff, and what I'm heading for is, you'll notice a reddish spot near the base of the bluff, and the left base there of that bluff, that reddish spot is my landmark for returning. So it's always good, even if you're on roads, to have a landmark that marks your start and end point, because when you're in the wilderness, like we will be later today, there's no guarantee that you will come out and actually find the road that you use to enter that wilderness spot. And here, by the way, is more of the Mount Charleston wilderness. Griffith Peak right in the center, and then Harris Mountain in the center there, and then between Griffith Peak and Harris Mountain you can see a little bit of Mummy Mountain to the left of Griffith Peak. There's the Charleston Peak area. That may actually be Charleston Peak, but no guarantees from this perspective. So there you have it. Let's continue on up this very fine road, Rainbow Springs Road 537F. There continue to be abundant pull-out spots for camping. This isn't one of the best, but there's a much better one coming up. You can see in the distance. So this road is one long camping opportunity. And so far, yeah, you can, the center is a bit high, but you can avoid that by putting one tire in the center and one tire on the left or the right side of the road. It is the first weekend in June, and the temperature is going to be 92 in the Las Vegas Valley today. I'm expecting maybe between 70 and 80 on the Upper Crest Ridgeline when I descend back to this point. Oh, maybe between 80 and 90 later in the day. I normally would be up in the Mount Charleston Wilderness at a much higher altitude, but yeah, here's a nicer spot. Yeah, I'd normally be up in the Mount Charleston Wilderness up at above 8,000 feet, between 8 and 12,000 as the year progresses here, as the seasons progress. But I do want to find a few places on the Upper Crest Ridgeline and possibly the Wilson Ridge before I ascend to that height. So I'm going to be putting up with a little more high heat than I'm used to. And so I'll be reporting on the effects of heat and how to minimize those effects. For one thing, I have about 5 liters of water, and I think I'm going to use them all before we're done. I'll report in later, but you definitely do not want to run out of water if you're going to be experiencing these higher temperatures. Okay, let's continue. Okay, sign that says entering the Red Rock National Conservation Area. And I guess, yeah, route ends 1.2 miles ahead, which would be where the Little Zion Trailhead is. And so far, road has been very good. Two-wheel drives can take it. I wouldn't be on the last 6 months of your tires. Have good tires and have a strong engine, because this has been a steady incline, and some of these areas on the road are just a little loose as far as gravel, and if you have loose gravel combined with an incline, your tires may do a little spinning, but still you're not going to be high centered. It's still a very good road. I don't think you'll take it at 60 miles an hour, but it's good enough to get up to the Zion Trailhead so far without a 4-wheel drive. A couple things to notice at this point. For one thing, we are in the pine, I think they're pinyon pines. Not a botanist, but that would be a pretty good guess. And we also have juniper here. So you can see just the plant life here has changed so much from where we started. We're no longer in the barren lower desert. And by the way, you also see hills here up ahead, and these are the foothills of the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. So we're going to be heading up that ridgeline very soon. Okay, we have arrived at the end of Rainbow Springs Road, and we are now at the Little Zion Trailhead area. So let's just go through this barrier and head to Little Zion, and you'll notice something's missing here. There's no signs that say Little Zion. So if you arrive at this point and you're looking for a sign that says Little Zion, forget it, not gonna find it. Okay, we've just passed through the trailhead, the end of the road, and the beginning of trails. And yeah, what to do from this point on? I am going to circle around the left end of this ridge here, and then watch for the Upper Crest Ridgeline. Okay, as we continue on, I want you just to notice the difference in the surroundings from where we started. You're seeing the, I believe it's limestone at the base of the Rainbow Mountains on this western base, and pinyon pines. Pines are much taller. There's juniper abundant, and You can see yucca plants and other flowers, which I will at one point identify. I am creating a plant life section on LasVegasAreaTrails.com, taking lots of pictures and, well, at some point identify all the plants. But regardless, here we are heading up the trail, and immediately you see a potential fork in the road. I do know that I want to circle around more to the right here. I know that there are trails that head off in a ton of different directions, so I'm going to stick to the right and see where this leads. Yes, I knew I wanted to circle around the edge of this ridge, do a kind of U-turn. I should be able to see the Upper Crest Ridgeline not too far into the future here. But here's another right turn that seems to be doing what I want it to do. And so I'm taking this. Let's just see where it leads. And by the way, just for bearings, there's the trail I came up. And yes, you could continue up this wash, but instead of continuing up this large wash, which doesn't look like it's going where I want it to go, I'm going to take this little trail. It takes a right and circles around the edge of that ridge we were looking at a moment ago. Okay, as we continue along this little trail, what can we see that's familiar? Well, there's some foothills ahead. And in the distance, there's a portion of the Upper Crest Ridgeline. And the other day when I turned down a canyon to the, I guess it's just north of, you know, if I'd continued on the ridgeline, I would have ended up at Hidden Peak and Little Zion. I turned down a canyon that was at the base of this hill. So I know that canyon's leading up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline. What we want to find is the way up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline from this area. And hopefully I'm on the right trail. I know there is a trail here that leads back to Mountain Spring. We don't want that trail. So let's just continue to look around. Okay, there's Potosi Mountain, Mountain Spring area. And we know we don't want to head in that direction. So what I'm going to do is head up this valley. I'm going to take this trail a little further. It looks like it's going off in that direction. If it turns up the valley, great. If it does not, I'm heading up that way, finding some ridges that will show me where the Upper Crest Ridgeline is. And let's just take a 360. Yeah, you can see the pines, pinyon pines and junipers. And then this is interesting. You can look back all the way to our start point. Remember that little red blotch at the base of the bluff? Well, there it is. And that's where we're parked, just shy of that. So that's what we want to remember no matter where we are. No matter what wilderness we find ourselves in. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to head up these ridges so I can look around and see the upper crest ridgeline. And we're still on that little trail. There are some cairns along the way, so that's good. They're pointing toward that ridgeline that I was looking for. And this little trail seems to be leading in a good direction. Let's continue. Okay, looking at the big picture, I'm going to keep these formations pretty distinctive. To the north of me, my left, as I head up this ridge where I'm going to be able to look around and see a little more where we are. And Potosi Mountain is right over there. And then our start point, that long bluff, is right down here. So let's go ahead and let's just see what the summit of this ridge looks like, what we can see from there. Here we go. Okay, where are we? There's Potosi Mountain. Look at our landmarks here. And there you see that kind of flat bluff. And you look at near the left base of that bluff. I'm going to try to make it right in the center. That red blotch. That is where we started. So that's what we're going to shoot for on the return trip. And we came right up this canyon. Now looking around this direction, when we descended from the area of Indecision Peak recently, we were descending along a canyon just in front of this hill. And that canyon wound around through all of these formations. We're going to continue up this ridge, and let's hope there's a connector to that next ridge above. And I think when we top that ridge, we're going to be able to see the Rainbow Mountains upper crest ridgeline. So here we go. Well, the good news is that we're pretty much on course. And what you see here is Indecision Peak. And you can see where it meets up with the ridgeline. Right about here, it meets up with the upper crest ridgeline. And then it's got this little peak. Maybe that's why they call it Indecision Peak, because you don't know what the exact peak is. That last one was higher than the Jurassic part. So yeah, if that's Indecision Peak, which we are fairly certain that is, and that is Mount Wilson, then this must be the upper crest ridgeline straight ahead. We just need to get there from where we are here. Kind of an interesting little spot. I may do a little descent and reascent. Doesn't look too difficult. Need to get back up to that area on the ridgeline. And then continuing to look around. I believe that when I descended Indecision Peak last, I circled around, I descended the peak, or at least that ridge leading to Indecision Peak. Let's take a look here. See if I can nail it. Okay, I would have been right around in this area. I would have come down the ridgeline and circled around the far side of this high point, little rocky outcrop, and headed down the wash on the other side and descended, and that's how I returned. By the way, there is in the distance, yes, Griffith Peak in the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and you can see portions of the Upper Crest Ridgeline. There's a portion of it, and then here's another portion up here. Then of course Mount Wilson, Indecision Peak, which means that somewhere over this ridge here we would descend to Little Zion. So let's just get to that ridge, see what's involved. There's a ways down and then up. Not too bad though. Okay, here we go. Okay, I continued up this ridge. Actually, I circled around the north side. Would have been better if I'd circled around the south side of this ridge I'm on. And I bet if there's a trail in the area, that's exactly what it does. And we'll see on the return trip if we can piece something together in that direction and find a trail. So it'll be much easier than what we've experienced here. We're looking at Potosi Mountain. We'll get a better view of it a bit later. And there's the Upper Crest Ridgeline. That's the southern portion. Where we want to be is right up in this area. And I think I even see a trail there. And we want to head over that ridge there and hopefully right down into Little Zion. And let's continue to look around here, just see what we can see. Looks like there's a kind of a saddle from where we are down and then up, and I think that's exactly what I had mapped out on Las Vegas area trails. I may change maps a little bit based on my experience today, but my estimation is Little Zion's right over this ridge here. We shall see. And then looking down, here's a saddle on the Upper Crest Ridgeline, Indecision Peak on the left, and the southern portion of the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail on the right. And then immediately in between, what you're looking at is Blue Diamond Hill. So that'll give you a little more bearings. And then right over the edge there, and you may not be able to see it too clearly, is the Las Vegas Strip. So there you have it. This is where we are, and let's see if we can connect with some trail. Now I know that I can hit the Upper Crest Ridgeline right up this way. Just take the saddle down and then up this little ridge. A lot of options up there. So let's just get up there and see what we can find. descending to the saddle. And by the way, when I navigate an area like this, that's pure wilderness, I'm very careful not to step on anything living and to leave as close to no trace as possible. And on the way back, we'll see about finding something that looks like a trail and sticking to the trail. Almost down to the saddle. Things are evening out. We came from this height, and I do believe that the map that I drew, the line that I drew, went over that height, came down this saddle, and up to the next height. So I think I am pretty much exactly on course. I took a little deviation around the north side of that ridge. I think on the map I had it going straight over the ridge, which actually would have been easier. So anyway, there you have it. Potosi Mountain, just for bearings, Potosi Mountain to the south, and Upper Crest Ridgeline, the southern portion, and over this ridge, I believe we're going to see Little Zion. And then if you continued along this ridge line, you'd head over to connect with Indecision Peak area and then continue on the ridge line. In fact, I think when I came from the ridge line above Mount Wilson, I came right through this area. I think it might have been around the left side of that little pointy, rocky outcrop there. But you can see how the ridgeline goes. It's a bit broken up. I called this the gap before. And it's the section between Indecision Peak and Hidden Peak, which is over this ridge. And it's where the ridgeline's pretty much broken up. Every other area on the ridgeline you can pretty much traverse all the way from Highway 160 to Willow Spring in Red Rock Canyon. But here is what I call the gap in the ridgeline. It's a little more rugged, not impossible, but yeah, it's more rugged. Okay, we were up on that ridge. I believe the line that I drew on the map takes you right over that ridge, right to where we are here. And it's what I refer to as the Wolverine route. I don't know if it's a legend or if there's truth to it, but the legend goes that Wolverines, when they traverse the wilderness, do so in a straight line. If there's a mountain in the way, they just go right over the mountain. And that straight line is what I drew from the Little Zion Trailhead, basically, after a few turns, straight up to that ridge and then over to this ridge. And let's look around. On this side, you see Potosi Mountain. And by the way, I'm going to leave that straight line there, even after I find something that may look more like a trail for the return trip. And over this direction, you can see the very tip of that bluff that I'd been using as a landmark in Lovell Canyon, where I parked at the today the south side of that bluff off Lovell Canyon Road. And wow, you can see a lot from this high perspective. This is going to be probably the best high perspective that we get today. There is the Mount Charleston Wilderness with Griffith Peak on the right, and you can barely see the tip of Charleston Peak to the left of Griffith Peak. Boy, there's a lot you can see from this spot. See this lighter hill in the background. When I came down from Indecision Peak, I navigated just on this side of that hill down in the wash. I navigated over to back to Lovell Canyon. And here's about where I left the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail, that rocky outcrop, that pointy rock there. I circled around the back side of that rock and then headed down into the wash, and eventually, after winding around through the wash, exited just in front. I was along the edge, the front edge of this light colored ridge, and I exited to Lovell Canyon at that point. In the meantime, last time I was up here, I navigated from Mount Wilson over to this point in the Upper Crest Ridgeline above the saddle that goes to Indecision Peak, which is right ahead there. So that's the Indecision Peak saddle. And behind that saddle is the tip of Mount Wilson. Okay, then, now we can see a whole lot from here. This is the sheer edge of a cliff here, so we need to get around and down. But while we're up here, there is what I believe is the, yeah, it is. It's the Spring Mountain Ranch or State Park. There's where the Super Summer Theater is played all throughout the summer, and definitely Google that. It's an awesome musical. They change it every month from, I think, May through September, maybe June through September, we don't know. And then looking over here, we're looking at Hidden Peak. I've got a page on Hidden Peak where we navigated down this ridge. There is actually a trail, get you down there and then up to Hidden Peak. And what else can we see here? There's the Upper Crest Ridgeline heading south, and then over to Potosi Mountain. And by the way, when I reached this point where we are right now, guess what I found? Let's come down this way just a little bit. See if we can find it again. Okay. Yes, I think I found it. Yeah, here's a little trail. I believe this trail is going to circle around and maybe descend down into the Little Zion area. So we'll check that out and see. If not in that direction, then maybe it's in this direction. So we're going to poke around up here and see what we can find. Okay, so this is where we are. Very beautiful area. And now let's head down this little trail and just see where it leads. Okay, I turned north on that little trail. It does turn out to be the upper ridgeline, the upper Crest Ridgeline Trail, and it continues along. It's taking us away from Little Zion. So what we're going to do is retrace our way back to that point where we turned north. We're going to go south, but this is good news because it shows that that gap in the ridgeline is maybe not a gap, and the trail continues along all the way through to above Indecision Peak. And right up in this area is where we were last on the ridgeline as we were heading south from Mount Wilson. So that's good news. We know the ridgeline continues and the little trail continues. Okay, let's turn around and go south and see if we can find a downward trail that will lead to Little Zion. And by the way, looking down, yeah, this is not very friendly territory. You can see sheer cliffs everywhere, and it's a little loose what I'm standing on here. And believe me, there are no soft landings down there. If you were on the ridgeline south and you took the little detour down to Hidden Peak, this is the route you would take. We've taken that before. And it leads to Hidden Peak. Behind Hidden Peak is Monument Peak. A lot harder to get to unless you're a rock climber. Okay, and yeah, look down there. Isn't that exciting? Right down the canyon between Indecision Peak on the left, north, and Hidden Peak south. Okay, and now from the point right on this ridge here, between that ridge ahead and there was the saddle we descended, we came up to this point and found the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. We headed south on it, which is in this direction. That's not taking us to Little Zion. So now we are heading north on the trail. Here's the little trail, Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. We're heading north, and I'm gonna hope that we're gonna come across a cairn that's gonna tell us where to turn left and down to the Little Zion area. So when I find that, I'll point it out so you don't miss it. Continuing south on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail, looking for a cairn. And here's a little cairn. I wonder if this is the indicator of where to descend to the Little Zion area. Let's go this way and just see where it leads. To the edge of a cliff, then it wasn't. But let's just see. Not seeing anything just yet, although there's a tall ponderosa pine right in the center there. So that could be an indicator we're getting close. Let's continue on this for just a little while longer. Okay, continuing south. Yeah, I'd say disregard that last cairn because it just was led to an overlook, and then back to the trail. I believe we're back on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. So let's go ahead and continue this. We're also looking for a connector on this side to the west that will lead back to the Little Zion Trailhead area. So let's continue along. There must be another descent point. Another cairn here. And I'm going to guess, based on what I see as I'm looking around, that these cairns aren't marking intersections to other trails, because I don't see any other trail intersections either west or east from this Upper Crest Ridgeline, which runs north-south. So east would be to my left, west to my right. And that's what we're looking for. These cairns must just be to reassure people that they are indeed on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. Continuing south on the Upper Crest Ridgeline. And so far, I haven't seen anything that looks like a trail going down. At least nothing that I would want to be on, nothing that looks safe. So, and there's looking north. So we are definitely on the ridge line. And yeah, so let's continue along and let's see if we can find a spot that we want to find. Two spots, one that leads down to the left or east that'll lead down to Little Zion, one that probably after that leads to the right, west, that'll take us back on a little more what looks like trails to our start point. So let's continue on. And by the way, it's very rugged here below the ridge line. Lot of very beautiful pillar formations. In fact, yeah, and there we're looking toward Mount Wilson, and then over here, this area, Indecision Peak. In fact, let's just trace the Indecision Peak saddle. So you're up on the ridge line. Up at that high point, you circle around, head down the saddle. Another high point, Mount Wilson, continue down that saddle, and in the shadow of the clouds, there is Indecision Peak, and then on down. It doesn't look like you'd want to tackle it from below. You want to tackle it from above. The challenge of doing it from above is just getting there. A lot of wilderness to cover along the way. And by the way, looking south, I went just a little around one bend. Yeah, look how rugged this is all the way down. Definitely no descent point down in this area. So let's continue south and see if we can find that descent point. Okay, I see it now. There is Little Zion. We had to go further south on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. So it's just a matter of getting down there now. And Here's the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. Let's continue taking this over, and I think there's going to be a way down to Little Zion. But yes, we found it. And so basically, yeah, you just need to be on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. And I'll show you where the descent point is to Little Zion. But you can see Indecision Peak over in this direction. Now it's in the light. There we go. Indecision Peak, the Saddle Ridge. There's a high point on the ridge. And here's the high point. The Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail circles that high point on the left or west side and continues on to where we are right here. So give you an idea what is where, and then yeah, Griffith Peak. Very beautiful up here. So we have found Little Zion. Now it's just a matter of getting down there and then also watching for where this Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail is going to take a right and take us back down by the trail system to our start point at the Little Zion Trailhead. Then we take Rainbow Spring Road and we're back to Lovell Canyon Road. Okay, now we are definitely on the trail that spins off from the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail, heading down toward Hidden Peak, which is right here. Little Zion is down in this direction. Let's zoom in a little bit on these. So here's the trail we're on. I'm heading down toward Hidden Peak. And there are Hidden Peak and Monument Peak. And we'll be looking for a little split off trail. Gonna take us down to Little Zion. Bigger view of the area. Okay, and there below us, you look carefully, you see a little trail that leads down to Little Zion. So we just need to find where that trail starts. Then we got it made. Correction, I was actually on the trail leading down to Little Zion. So I'm already on that trail, somehow just keeping to the left as I was heading south on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. There were a few split offs and it guided me straight to this Little Zion Trail. Okay, definitely descending on a very nice trail to Little Zion. But let's make clear how we got to this little trail. If you hit the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail south of this trail connection, for example, you took the Wolverine route over the ridges and then hit the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail, as I did today, then you just want to keep to your left, and eventually, after you ascend, you'll descend, then ascend on the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. As you begin to see Hidden Peak, you want to split off to your left before the Hidden Peak Trail. If you go too far on that Crest Ridgeline Trail, you'll find yourself on the Hidden Peak Trail. and that will not take you to Little Zion unless you are a rock climber. On the other hand, let's say that you came from the south, let's say Mountain Springs area, or you connected with the Upper Crest Ridgeline trail through the Little Zion Trailhead, and you ended up on that Upper Crest Ridgeline trail south of this Little Zion Trail connection. In that case, what you want to do is you'll want to take a right. It'll be like your second right as you're approaching Hidden Peak. The first right, you'll notice, goes down to Hidden Peak. Do not take that. Take the second right, which will take you down to Little Zion. So there you have it. I hope that that's clear enough. I'm explaining how to get to Little Zion from the Upper Crest Ridgeline Trail. And you can see it right below us, already looking very beautiful. Okay, the Little Zion Trail takes you down from the Upper Crest Ridgeline right to this point. And now you're on the sandstone directly above Little Zion, which you can see below us. And let's see, let's zoom in on that. Those are my trekking poles. Yeah, look at those tall ponderosas. So amazing to see those in an area like this. So there are some cairns around here, but just pick your best route and work your way down the sandstone to Little Zion. So here we go. So there's Little Zion. Here's where we are. Let's work our way down the sandstone. See if we can find a path of least resistance here. And yeah, very nice. You know, it's been nice trails and class 2 all the way, except when I took that Wolverine route. But there are trails that will get you here without doing any wilderness routes like I did today. And we'll see if we can find those on the way back. No promises, but if we can find them, then you'll have a clear route to get here. But yeah, no exposure, no climbing, nothing above class 1 or 2. Very, very easy all the way to Little Zion. And you can see now we are making our final descent. That was really easy. Across the sandstone. And yeah, we'll probably go right down this little gully. This is going to take us right down to Little Zion, which is right over there. Figured we'd walk it in. And like I said, no trails, just pick your route of least resistance. And yeah, let's go this way. It gets a little dicey down this way, so we might want to head a little bit more in this direction. Let's see. I'm not seeing any of those cairns that are saying which way specifically to take, but you know, we are so close right now. Let's go up here, see if there's a route down this little ridge. If not, we'll retrace our way and go back down that gully below. So on the ridge above the gully, the alternate route would be right down the gully. I just don't know how that was going to turn out. But we'll know soon which route you're going to want to take. Yeah, I'm thinking I would have done better in the gully. So I'm going to go back and we'll go down the gully. Okay, here we go down the gully. And you don't want to do this when it's wet. It's like a skating rink. And just watch for little loose rock, because that'll cause you to slip. And this is rock solid sandstone that we're walking across. Yeah, this is the way, right down the gully. Look at the beauty of this sandstone around us. Wow. That's always good to remember where you came down so you can get back up to the trail, right up in the center there. Wow. Okay, continuing down to Little Zion. Oops, just stepped on something loose right after I said watch it. Oh, look at this. Little pools of water. Wow. Okay, we're going to go up here. So that gets a little steep down in that gully. Go right through here. Then down this way. There's the pools again. Wow, this is just spectacular. Actually, I'd use that word for large vistas. This is more of an intimate view that we're experiencing here. Like the land time forgot. You know, we just came down this little ridge above the gully. We were up there before, and I guess we could have come down that way, because I see a connector right here. It is a little class 3 there. But right here we see a little trail beginning. Wow, look at this colorful sandstone. Amazing, amazing. You can see there's a little bit of a ledge. You want to make sure that when you descend, you know that you can get back up. It's about 6 feet of a ledge, and you see a tree there. You could go up the tree. That's one way. You can go further up the ledge, and maybe there's it looks like there's a little point where you can descend the ledge right up here. So you've got this area You've got the tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around this, continue this way, and it looks like there is a little pathway that's going to take me down right through this area. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we'll descend that way, although there's a little path down there that looks like it leads to the area with the tree or beyond. Yeah, well, we'll just have to experiment a little bit, but there are multiple ways. You just have to be watching and make sure that you pick one that's going to do the trick. In fact, I think I'm going to go up this way a little bit. And we'll see where a good descent point is. You always want to know you can get back up. That's kind of important. Okay. Yeah, it looks like this is going to do it right here. Although I'm going to stop the phone because there's just a little bit of hanging on. There's Point Leaf Manzanita right below us. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah, that looked like a good point. There's even a little landing pad of rocks somebody had created there. So, as you can see, there's a descent point. And then even further up, looks like there's a descent point up there. And as I mentioned, the tree right here is a descent point. But here we are anyway. I like the one that I picked by the Point Leaf Manzanita. Okay, let's go ahead and enter this amazing land. Yeah, you just don't expect these tall ponderosa pines in an area like this. You would expect them more in Zion Park. And there's a little trail. Takes you through. Wow. Look at this. This is another world. Ah, there's the arch. There's that famous arch. I was wondering where it was. We'll take a look at that in a bit. There we are looking at the upper Crest Ridgeline. And let's continue along. The waving grass. Okay, here we are on the edge of eternity. This is where everything drops off. You're looking at the town of Blue Diamond below. And then over to the Las Vegas Valley. And a lot of glare on my screen. I'll try to point things out, but not easy because I can't see anything. But here should be the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah, right there. You're looking at Blue Diamond Hill across the way. See if I can make a turn. I'm right on the edge of this little peninsula. There is an unnamed mountain. It's probably got a name, but I don't know what it is. But then up here, Indecision Peak, and And behind it, you can see Mount Wilson. And yeah, goes straight down. And then looking over this way into Little Zion. And then up to the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. And across to Hidden Peak. Hidden Peak, Monument Peak. See why they call it Monument Peak. Does look like a monument straight up. And then back down to the valley. Town of Blue Diamond, Las Vegas Valley. And then off in the distance. So let's see. There's one more thing here. We're looking over the strip. You can see very faint outline of Frenchman Mountain. And then little to the left, very, very faint, is the Muddy Mountains. Looking over in this direction. Yeah, everything's pretty faint today. Gas Peak, Sheep Range. Over here, you see the red rock in the distance below. That is, Red Rock Canyon. Calico Hills are the deep red. Turtlehead Peak. Too bad that so much is in the shade. There's Turtlehead Peak. And then up above are the La Madre Mountain cliffs. So there you have it. This is where we are. Like I said, on the edge of eternity. Definitely, this is where they should drop the Jeep by helicopter, have somebody sitting in it like they drove up to this point, and make an advertisement. Okay, let's go back to the Little Zion area. Okay, we're heading back through Little Zion. Let's find that arch. And even though it is 92 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley, I don't have a thermometer here, but there's a nice breeze blowing and it's under 80 degrees. I'd say maybe 75 degrees up here. We're about at 6,000 feet. There you see the Upper Crest Ridgeline. That's heading south toward Mountain Springs. There it goes south to the left. Spring flowers in bloom. Speaking of animals, homes in trees, take a look at this. Either that's a large animal or some very small animals, but that just didn't happen by accident. Something made that. I vote for a bunch of small animals. I don't want to meet the animal that lives up there if there's just one. By the way, that arch formation that I saw from over in Indecision Peak area, and what I saw on the satellite view, I think is more right over in this direction. So it was the basic area of Little Zion, but now that I've been here, I know that the true arch that I thought I could see from Indecision Peak, which now I know is impossible, is right here. Let's get up close to that arch. See how close we can get. Well, this pathway seems to be the ticket. Let's try it. And it continues right through this brush. Nice. And up through here. Please don't let there be any snakes. Okay, it's time to say goodbye to Little Zion. I don't know when I'm going to get back here, but this is truly an amazing place. Totally unexpected in the midst of all this Jurassic rock. We're going to make our way back up to that area where the trail emptied out into Little Zion, and then back up over the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline, and then maybe we'll find trails back down, or maybe I'll do another wilderness route. We don't know. Goodbye, Little Zion. Seems it's always easier to retrace my way or find my way out of a place than it was to get into it. I don't know why that is, but here we've got all easy class 2, 1 and 2, where on the way I seem to remember having to figure out how to get over a ledge. So, yeah. I think I was more in the gully going down on the way, and the way to go actually would have been to head to the left of that gully. Easy walk. And with the sun in a much better position, it's easier to see the strip than it was before. Okay, and here, yeah, the strip again. Better view. And here we are at the little trail we came down. So back up now to the upper Crest ridgeline. Another shot of the strip. Lighting increasing by the minute, but this will be the last. Okay, I sent it from Little Zion back to the upper Crest ridgeline, and I could just work on weaving my way down this direction, that flat bluff in the distance. On the left side, a little bit to the right of that left side, is my starting point. So I think if I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this, but one way would be to just weave my way down through canyons toward that location, and then find the road. Rainbow Springs Road. We'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Right now I'm on the upper Crest ridgeline, and I know a number of ways back. It'd just be nice to find a trail back. Okay, I took a left off the ridgeline toward that direction, that landmark that I had mentioned earlier. And it looks like there's a little trail here. I don't think this is just a wash. So let's take this, and just maybe this is going to lead us back without having to do the Wolverine route over a few ridges. We'll see. Or it could just be a dead end and I have to climb ridges anyway. We don't know. Yes, this is indeed a little trail. It doesn't look very much used, but there is evidence of foot traffic. So the big question is going to be, where does this empty into Lovell Canyon, and where will my landmark be? Where will the start end point landmark be? So should be very interesting. Let's just keep working this little trail. Yeah, I find that on the way back, my tolerance for two things is low. One is pure wilderness, and the other one is uphill. And this is sort of a trail, not a hugely great trail, but hey, it's definitely been traveled. So that makes it better than avalanche slopes in the wilderness, at least for now. And so that's one thing. Another is my tolerance for uphill is low. And this just seems to be going downhill with the flow of water. So yeah, wherever this is leading, and it's leading in the general direction I want to go. So wherever I end up, I think I'm going to have a better time getting there than if I'd been hanging on the edge of avalanche slopes and doing Wolverine routes over ridges. I'm just going to flow like water now and head downhill, see where we end up. And along the way here, there are even cairns to remind you that you are on course. So, although where else are you going to go? You're in a wash. But hey, looking good so far. Let's just continue down this wash and see where it leads. And what are the chances? This looks like my Wolverine ridge, the Wolverine ridge that I came over on the way. And it looks like I can just stay in this wash and skirt the left side of the ridge and then angle right and connect with trails. And there are cairns in this wash. So I'm on something of a trail. Let's continue. And by the way, there's that saddle I came down when I came down the saddle, then headed up to the upper Crest ridgeline. So I'm just skirting this ridge this time on the left side or the south side instead of going over the top of it. Continuing down the wash and looking for a right turn, because I think that we're going to need to angle right at some point. But if the wash just empties out, then we'll angle right once we get out of the wash. However, we'd miss Rainbow Springs Road, and I've been looking forward to running that road. Really nice road, downhill all the way. So we'll see if we actually hit Rainbow Springs Road, but this little wash is actually very nice. There are cairns along the way, and there's evidence of people having used this recently. Looks almost like heavy traffic, so this may be part of the main pathway to Little Zion, and we'll see where it empties out. As I was hoping, I was going to show you the trail that is not the Wolverine straight over a ridge wilderness route, but actually a trail. And this looks like a good candidate for that. Okay, and the name of the game seems to be keep to your right on the way down this wash, keep to your left on the way up. And this then would be a trail as opposed to a wilderness route to Little Zion. Okay, now the main question seems to be continue in the wash and go between those two hills, or angle over to the right and go between the other two hills. And I think that even if I go between these two hills up here, stay in the wash, go between these two hills, that I'll be able to angle to the right after I get out of that wash. But look at this. This looks like it could be that right turn. This could be the right turn I've been looking for. And it looks like it's fairly well traveled. So I'm going to take this because I know I need to angle in that direction. Okay, just came across this trail and it is leading in the direction I want to go, that I'm guessing we should be going in, which is around the north side of this little ridge up ahead. Circle around the north side and then head down, and we'd be connecting with Rainbow Springs Road. So we'll just see. This looks too good to be nothing, that's for sure. Okay, familiar landmarks. There is Wolverine Hill. It's a hill I went over, which means that, yes, we need to go down, take a left at this hill ahead, and we should be connecting with Rainbow Springs Road, and we can run it in. And there you can see the, parts of the Upper Crest Ridgeline, I think this might actually be approach canyons. These two landmarks look familiar. I was on this side of those landmarks as I went over Wolverine Hill. It's not really called Wolverine Hill, but I call it that because I went straight over it like a Wolverine. Okay, so we continue this way and we should be connecting with a left turn before this hill. So let's just see if all that works out. Okay, I took a left off that main trail because this little wash looked like it might be a kind of a shortcut to the ridge up ahead, where I suspect I want to turn left. So it may not be the best way, but the thing is, head for that ridge. That's what you want to be doing. And then we're gonna take a left at that ridge, and that should put us on to the, yeah, this may not have been a good idea. I'm really in the weeds now, but that should put us back onto the Rainbow Springs Road. Okay, tall snake grass, my favorite. Yeah. Well, here we go. Let's just hope the snakes are not out in force here. In fact, I think I'm going to take the upper road to the left, because you just sink into this grass and who knows what's living in it. So, yeah, here we go. Yep, onward. I should have stayed with that wider trail, but here we are. Okay, just came down snake grass bypass bridge, and I'm finding myself on a trail of sorts, which looks like it's going in the right direction to empty out into Rainbow Springs Road. What are the chances? We're going to find out. Yay, that wash did empty out into Rainbow Springs Road. So now we can run it back. I think that if you're looking for the most direct way, yeah, you would have stayed on that wide path I was on instead of taking an early left and cutting downward. Although, who knows? It all works, but it's easier to find the wide path. So I think you go up Rainbow Springs Road until you hit that wide path. Then you take a right and you go to that wash that I descended the Upper Crest Ridgeline with that wash. And once you get in the wash, like I said, you take a left on the wash and take it all the way up to the Upper Crest Ridgeline, and that's how you connect with the ridgeline and the trail that goes down. It's a right turn on the Upper Crest Ridgeline, and then a left turn downward will send you down to Little Zion. So yeah, what a day. Okay, we're going to run it back in and call it a day here. And here we are back at the beast. What a day. We have gone up Rainbow Springs Road for about 3 miles, and then we hit some trails and ended up on the Rainbow Mountains Upper Crest Ridgeline. We took a left just to check out that ridgeline, and almost connected with the furthest south we've gone from Mount Wilson. So we've really closed the gap, and turned around and headed south on the ridgeline, descended to Little Zion, just a place full of wonder, and enjoyed some time there, and then came back a different way. We had gone over what I called the Wolverine route, which is straight over some ridges up and down to the Upper Crest Ridgeline. And on the way back we found a wash, took that wash. I'll draw it on the map in Las Vegas Area Trails.com, and took that wash down. That was really fast. Took a right and then headed over back to the intersection with Rainbow Springs Road here, Upper Rainbow Springs Road, and then headed down Rainbow Springs Road. And here we are, back at the beast. What an awesome day.